Yes, peace family. Welcome everyone. And tonight we have a special night for you. We have our sister Diana Pharr with the delivery of the message. So we're going to start with our sister Tasha with the greetings.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids and Journey to Bliss. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, and Ashe.
That
And
was a pleasant surprise.
you like that?
I did.
All right. So we're going to go to our commercials now. Let's go. Hey, what happened there?
Wasn't me.
All right. Woo! Get those t-shirts, family. Get those I am t-shirts. Peace, family. I wanted to show you some of these great quality t-shirts that were designed by the brother Shaka. The I am t-shirts. I am a generator, an operator, and a destroyer. Great quality t-shirts, 100% cotton. If you like one of these t-shirts, reach out to the brother Shaka at N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, N as in Nancy, Shaka at gmail.com. That's NFN Shaka at gmail.com. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. Yay! Get those t-shirts. All right, we going on to the soup. This one always makes me hungry.
The best soup in Brooklyn in various sizes. Coconut Raw, 1396 Fulton Street. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. This is a nutritional feast of the highest benefits. Deliciously, meticulously prepared with the best herbs, beans, spices, tasty to your tongue and nutritious for your cells. Come Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Thursdays, 12 p.m. Sundays, 12 p.m. Coconut Raw, the best soup in New York City.
The
That
best.
looks so good, and I'm a soup lover.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you'll
And if
love
we
that soup.
coming into fall, it's the perfect time to have soup.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to the Lock Fest, guys.
Family, Lockfest, Saturday, September 9th, 2023. Sister, what do you have happening at the Lockfest? Tell us about it.
Hello, peace, love, and blessings, everyone. My name is Kim, and I am promoting Lockfest NYC 2023. This year, it will be at Restoration Plaza on Fulton Street. This is all about locks. It's about celebrating the beauty of dreadlocks, the culture, the history, sustainable, healthy living, peace, love, and vibes. Come on out, bring your family and friends. Tickets are available on our website, www.lockfestnyc.com, and Eventbrite. Peace, love, and blessings.
And what's the hours?
The hours are noon to 8 p.m.
Okay, and is there a donation?
Donations are accepted upon entry, but tickets are available on the website and Eventbrite.
Excellent, thank you. Be there.
Thank you.
Be there or be square. Off to our little guys, the young musicians.
Family, I am here with a magical moment. of young musicians. And this is Kim, Sister Kim, and she has a message about investing into the future musicians of our community. Sister Kim, tell us what you got here.
Hi everyone, Kim, proud parent of children at the Big Apple Leadership Academy for the Arts. We teach HBCU high-stepping marching band to our kids from age 5 and up. It is a free after-school program, tuitionless, and it's open to all. Our kids are amazing. If you can, jump on our website. We're looking for support, donations. Our kids need new instruments so that they can high step on. Our website is www.balaa.org, BALAA.org. And I appreciate the time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so family, listen up close. We're talking about investing in the artists of tomorrow. By investing in them, if you have a little expendable change to invest in the youth, the genius, this is the opportunity. And in the description on this video will be the details of sending your donation to PayPal or Zelle or Cash App.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for your support. Our children are the future.
Beautiful, beautiful. Should we do Baraka in Harlem?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, here we go.
Absolutely.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Nice. So you ready?
Bliss, did you do the
Oh, I am?
yeah.
Okay, hold on. I am a brother's keeper. Hold on.
Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, yes, always who you are. Yes, yes, I am. Love, wisdom, yes, yes, I am. Yes, yes, I am. My brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. All of you, yes, I am my brother's keeper. Is master of the universe. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am is master of the universe. Is master of the yes, I am my brother's keeper. Master of the universe. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Yes, I am of my brother's keeper. keeper. Yes, I am my brother's keeper. Of the universe, my brother's keeper. Yes, I am 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 my brother's keeper. Yes, I am
Health,
my brother's keeper.
love, wealth is your destiny.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bliss.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Diana. And thank you to all my fellow Jedi gods and goddesses. So we want to do our invocation before we get going with the show. So I just want to make sure I have the music correct. I want you to take hold of your crystals or a cup of water. Or take hold of your favorite meditation stick, prayer stick, or whatever is sacred to you in going into the inner realm of alpha, inner realm of trance. And as we close our eyes, be mindful to have water to drink throughout this show. And as I always say, we always say, it's always better to have tea and no water. I mean, tea and no food instead of food and no tea. Because the ingredients, the nutrients that you'll find in herbal tea, it's not easy to find in food. So as we close our outer eyes to the dream reality and open our original first eye, we breathe in, collect our faculties, look back upon our countless soul incarnations as waves in the sea of love. Although we may have been highly evolved or sleepwalking in some incarnations and various characters, with the galactic overview of our consciousness, we say, yes, I am forgiving all soul characters of my past lives. And yes, I am all soul characters from my past lives forgiving me. And most of all, yes, I am worthy to forgive myself. So, this awesome liberation of forgiveness is a three-pointed diamond: forgiving yourself, forgiving all others, and all others forgiving you. And as we spin our consciousness into the here and now and the future possibilities, we can say, yes, I am forgiving all soul wave musicians, regardless of how great or small in this life. And yes, I ask all soul wave musicians to forgive me. And most of all, yes, I am worthy to forgive myself. Yes, I am. And now we, from our I am, thank you, my brothers and sisters, for being born. Thank you for taking the time to be with us on the platform to collect our consciousness of quantum millions and billions of volts of unlimited possibilities. We collectively and individually ask in the name of love our ascended master ancestors to be with us on the platform. But this is where we're going to have a different experience. We're going to be aura hug masters. Special shout out to our beautiful Capricorn sister, Amber, who graced me with her skin suit appearance while I was relaxing at the crossroads of Brooklyn. Amber comes down with the wings of her follicles out in the most anti gravity poetry. So I want to thank you, Amber, for your feminine grace, for coming through my space place. And thank you for gifting me delicious fruit of tangerines and conversation. And we, in the spirit of Ubuntu, again, focus on embracing in our consciousness, giving a conscious hug through the wings of our imagination, embracing and hugging and thanking and inviting Yeshua. Take a moment to imagine giving a hug to Yeshua and Yeshua hugging you, hugging me, hugging us. Thank you. As we now move to invite with embraces Mother Mary, Black Madonna. Oh, the siren music is playing. And perhaps you might see her smile as she reaches out to hug you, and you hug her as we hug her in our wings of consciousness. We now hug Enoch Ethiopian, who became Metatron. Invite with a hug Enoch, who became Metatron. And you can always do these ancestral hugs with your consciousness. The more you practice, the more real it will feel. I want to thank and invite, on behalf of all of us, the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko. Let's invite Simeon Toko with a hug of our consciousness to be with us on this platform. And Saint Germain, gatekeeper of Northern California, into the entrance of the hollow earth, giving Saint Germain a hug and thanking you, Saint Germain, for all you do, known and unknown, for all the wisdom. Thank you. Nikolai Tesla, let's give him a hug for trying to bring the contemporary savages to the golden age of yester era, free electricity, and boundless other miracles of the golden ages of antiquity. Thank you, Nikolai Tesla, as we hug you in our consciousness. And then as our consciousness now goes to the ascended master from Senegal, let's hug Sheikh Amadou Bamba, Sheikh Ibrahim. Thank you for all you did, all you do, and all you keep giving. And hugs are the original Tantra, because ascended masters are Tantra masters. Consciousness, as we now bring our awareness to thank White Buffalo Care, Quetzalcoatl, Tahuti, Ratah, group hug family. We're speeding up our consciousness and expanding the hugs. Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X, Nat Turner, John Brown, Chief Geronimo, Chief Osceola, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Crazy Horse, Chief Seattle, Mary McLeod Bethune, Harriet Tubman, P.B. Randolph, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, embracing the Shroom Master, Dr. George Washington Carver, Dr. Sadie, Master Kalindi Aye, giving Mama Ayana a hug, South African Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa, hugging in a group gathering in the spirit of Ubuntu, Elijah, Melchizedek, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, Angel of Protection, please protect our women, our children, our family, friends, and loved ones. Everyone with your consciousness, give Archangel Michael a hug and invite him on the show. Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel. Give a hug to the forces of nature that lives inside of us. Ilegba, Oshun, Yemaya, Oya, Ologun, Shango, Ogun, Obatala, Ochosi. Hug the forces of nature that you, me, Ubuntu, we are all that ever was. Hug all the Buddhas, Krishnas, the Lady Buddhas. Special acknowledgement to Sister Arquette, who brought that to my attention at African Arts Festival. The Lady Buddhas be with us tonight. Heteru, be with us. Arset, Imhotep, Ptahotep, Akhenaten. A group hug consciousness, elevation, activation tonight. Yes, I am. We are. Thank you for being born. Thank you for being alive. And thank you. Have your hands rest on the shoulders of Diana, ascended masters, ancestors, and all who are listening now and in the future. And we say together, Ashe, Aho, Mahalo, Donada, Wado, Amen, Amen. And so it is. Let's
Ashe.
rock. Here
Aho.
we go. Let it flow. What's in the kitchen, Diana Pharr? What you got stewing and brewing in the kitchen of the mind? My cat just came up on and sat here right next to me, Bliss family. I can't make this up.
My cat was here for the prayer. She said she didn't want to miss the whole, introduction. So she been here the whole time.
Yeah. As soon as I started doing the prayers, here comes Chloe. And she's like, well, you could rub my head, Big Daddy, while you're doing them prayers. So wherever you are, family, put in the comments what part of the beautiful spaceship planet Earth you're listening from, so that we can acknowledge you, because you are the ones who make the difference. Yeah, my cat came over here while I was praying, like, here, rub my head while you saying all that. I can't make it up. Yes, Chloe, I see you, baby. All right, so Diana, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. Always. Always. So here we are. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little about Pluto's upcoming transit into Aquarius that's starting.
Oh, they looking for you now, Diana. Talking about Pluto. And they might want you to talk about Trump.
Yeah. Pluto's in Capricorn right now, so y'all good. Don't worry about it. It's in Capricorn.
Yeah.
When it move, y'all better be ready.
Trying to, well, that's neither here nor there. But I wanted to. It's important, so I wanted to share that, and then I wanted to share some practicalities regarding that. We're Pluto marks historical epochs because it's very slow moving.
Hmm.
So it will be in Aquarius. It'll enter in 2024 in January, and it will be there until 2043. And the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during what's called the era of war between 1778 and 1798. That was the French Revolution and also the American Revolution, the war between America and Britain. There were other wars going on in other places in the world during that period. So, what Pluto marks, Pluto brings power. And it's been in Capricorn since 2008. And during that period, things ruled by Capricorn were empowered. Corporations dissolved a lot of our civil liberties here in the United States. And the transition of Pluto moving into Aquarius represents a major power shift that's very important because Aquarius rules humanity. So with Pluto entering Aquarius and being there for a good while, for 20 years, will empower humanity. It'll also empower technology. We'll see a polarization in culture where Aquarius, the technology, the internet is Aquarian. Group consciousness, people coming together is Aquarian. So the technology is Aquarian. AI, robotics is Aquarian. So there's a lot that people are probably aware of that is rolling out. They're projecting 1 out of 5 jobs globally will be replaced by AI. So these are major shifts in society as we have known it. So it's a very important aspect. So within the context of Pluto moving into Aquarius next year, I wanted to talk about flow. So I've made a celestial statement regarding Pluto into Aquarius. So I wanted to talk about flow. Flow is the fourth movement in the practice, and the practice is the translation of alchemical principles into magical applications. That's what we do in Alchemy Group. And for the listeners, if people email me, I will send them the practice. So if you can let people know, my email is dfar8@aol.com.
Yeah, I'm going to create that right now.
And people can email me, and I will send them a copy of the basic practice.
DFAR 8, 1 8,
D8 1R
1
8,
R,
yeah, at AOL
DFAR 8
at AOL.
at AOL.com.
Yes, the email of choice of old people. AOL. So flow. There's an intelligence beyond the mind within us. Right now, we're burdened by information. And information operates at a particular aspect of our consciousness. It activates a certain part of the brain, the hippocampus. But there's an intelligence beyond that. There's an intelligence beyond the mind, where we connect with the highest expression of what it is to be human. And I want the listeners to really grasp this, that think about your body, think about nature, that there is an intelligence that tells plants how to grow. We have several systems in the body, we have that overlap, that function together. There's an intelligence behind nature, behind the mind. And within the context of that intelligence is what I refer to as flow. And it's not an unusual state. People experience it when they're driving, um, when you're so immersed in life that you become one with it. You transcend your thoughts and your emotions, your past. You're totally in the present. So that's what I mean when I refer to flow. It changes the brain. When we're in flow, we transcend the things that may obscure or present as resistance in how we move through life. And the flow, where is the flow? I don't see my little tie can. It's usually on my desk. But people are familiar with the yin yang symbol. It's usually on my desk. I must have moved it when I was dusting. I don't see it. But flow is ruled, those people that are familiar with alchemical law, flow extends from the law of polarity. And within the context of basic practice, it vibrates to the heart, to the anahata, air. And to be in the flow requires that we move with the rhythm of life in a particular way, that we tune into the frequency of eternity. And within that space, pathways open up within when we align with the flow. And how does the importance this has to Pluto moving into Aquarius is that we know that society is going to transform. We I miss you. I miss you. When I'm like this, I only see me. And
Don't worry, Diana. We ain't gonna stick you there forever. But
I like
sometimes let me work that camera to show your loveliness.
with the pyramids and with
Yeah, this is an
yeah,
art form. We got you.
and I can
Watch this, Diana. Watch this. While you talking, Diana, watch this.
now I miss you.
Watch this, Diana. Watch this right here. Look.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Keep singing to us, Diana. Sing to us, please.
That's so beautiful. So yes, this is the screen that I like. So, this aspect is coming in on an 8-year under the sign of Capricorn. So we're likely to see some transformative changes in government and corporations. But I don't, I'm not a forecaster because the the people who were the astrologers, and I have a knowledge of astrologer. I don't consider myself an astrologer or a numerologist, even though I have a knowledge of both. I use them as tools, but my area is consciousness. Um, Divination or forecasting, in my experience, has its limitations. It can give you some direction. They're very powerful and helpful tools. But if we understand the nature of life, and that in everything we do, we're interacting with the life force, it comes through the people we interact with, it comes through the life events we have, it comes through our own thoughts. But we only really have one relationship, and that's with our divinity. And this is a time for people to establish that connection, because the systems that we're accustomed to depending upon, jobs, utilities, these systems are not sustainable. They may, I'm not suggesting that we won't continue to have them. I do not know. I do not know. What I'm suggesting is that this is a time to cultivate your sovereignty, your freedom, to be who you are, to know that you are safe. And the only true safety is connection to the origin of all of life, however you define that. So flow, the idea of flow and what we experience in flow is a part of many systems. Yeshua taught it as the kingdom of heaven. Lao Tzu taught it as the Tao. Metaphysicians teach it as our connection to Akasha, the neutral space. But we're working more in group. We're focusing on that connection, because it's out of that connection that all things come. All things come out of that. And there are some ideas that have taken hold in the collective consciousness that divert our attention from that connection. Ideas like work, that's the main one. Intention. There's a seduction that is drawing the collective consciousness away from connection within yourself. And I know that's familiar to an audience such as this, the importance of connection. But the experience of flow is a very empirical experience. It extends from our relationship to the systems that we live within. This physical world that we live in is built upon an energetic system, the sacred geometry that underlines all life. That's not the absolute level. There's a finer level, but that those pathways within the order, the underlying order within nature, the systems within nature, we're intertwined with them. We're plugged into them through our systems, through our central nervous system, the spine, which connects to the brain, the enteric system, the enteric nervous system, which is very important, your intuition, your gut feeling, intelligently being guided. Your heart is a neural system. Your brain is a neural system. the autonomic nervous system. And so there's some things that are extremely important that need to be accomplished. The first movement of the practice is the breath. And the breath is so important because the breath, well, every cell in the body needs breath. We can't function without breath, but to be able to come into flow, to be able to transcend the mind and put it in its proper place in relationship to your greater consciousness, so that you're living in a state of divine direction. The relationship between breath and becoming parasympathetic dominant as how you function. We live in a society that has cultivated us in a way that we are sympathetic nervous system dominant. That means we're constantly in fight or flight. If we're not in flow, we're in fight or flight. And in that state, we can't be transmitters for direction. So, there are, what I'm talking about is entering into a historical epoch where the society that we live in is going to change. There are things that are on the ready to produce those changes. So what I'm offering in terms of restoring the magic of your humanity is that the only way out is in. And this is the technology that was left for us. This was the technology that was left for us by many masters, many ancients, many sages, many teachers that gave us templates as how to navigate life in general. So I hope people are grasping the sense of when you've been in the zone, the intelligence beyond your mind. You may experience it when you are driving on a road that you're familiar with, you become on autopilot. Artists experience it. When you are engaged in any activity that changes your brainwave state, and this is very important because if we are living what some people call purpose, and Ifa is called your Ori, Dharma, your divine, your aspect of the divinity that you are. Why are you in the world? If that has become centered, if your life is devoted to that, then your life most of the time will flow. And whatever challenge you experience, when you resolve it, it will return you back into the flow with a deeper connection to it. And so that piece is important. The piece of being engaged in activity in your life that is soul's activity, when you're engaging the soul. It's like Rising Sun, you spend a lot of time in the lab. And what comes out of that experience you have to be in flow. You have to be in flow state. And we've been socialized in a particular way. We have to do, we have to take care of the utility of life. We have to pay bills and do those things. But what the flow will do is the flow, if you, let's say you're working a job for utility reasons and it's not the job that you would love to be working, if you immerse yourself into that, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever is the nature of your life at this time, what be what begins to happen is, in alchemy, is called transmutation. The life begins to transform. Synchronicities, timely events that are relevant to you as a soul become more commonplace in your life, and people are experiencing more synchronicity at this time anyway, because the boundaries between the dimensions are thin. So the phenomena of 1111 and multiple numbers and colors and various correspondences are becoming more commonplace. So air, anahata, heart, the center of the macabre. We need to have some activity in our daily existence that takes us there. As a society, we're yanged out, we're yin deficient. So we're constantly in our intellectual mind, and it has created a toxic relationship with dopamine, the hormone, our reward center, that we experience pleasure when we receive new information. And there's an aspect in the culture that triggers us. It's like recently they reconfigured the interface for a website that I use on a regular basis. And that newness, that constantly changing of newness is it affects the brain in a particular way. It forces you into cognitive rational mind. And it also rewards you. It rewards you, like getting likes in social media reward you. But this keeps consciousness at a very mundane, low frequency. So we don't, I'm not saying I spend, I'm a writer and a researcher. So I spend probably 3 to 6 hours a day at my computer. But I go into nature every day. I make sure that I walk every day. And writing is my flow for me, that is when I am engaged in that frequency that expands my consciousness. So I'm saying, one, incorporate something into your life that takes you into flow state. And it could be something mundane. It could be is something like cleaning house. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be going into the lab and communing with Tesla. It could be washing dishes. It can be cooking your evening meal when you come in from work. But exercise that muscle, exercise your divinity. The other now this re, now I'm relating to, I mentioned sovereignty, and I take Kathy Davis's Qigong class, and she echoed my thoughts. She mentioned sovereignty in this morning's class, freedom. And if you notice, historically, sovereignty is a word that's associated not with the masses, but with the leaders, with the monarchs. They are sovereign. But the people of their nations are not sovereign, are not free. So this is what I'm talking about, sovereign. So how do you begin to establish sovereignty in your life is what I'm sharing with you. And people who have issues with finances, or people who are dependent on the system, and we all have a very, very codependent relationship with the matrix. The flow allows you to transcend that. And when there's an issue, and whatever area in the life, if it's relationships that are not rewarding and loving and intimate and caring and connecting and fulfilling, if it's finances, the first step of developing those relationships, because we need relationships. The last time I was here, I talked about what we need now most is each other. Flow also flow also connects the individual, where you begin to connect with divine appointments, people that are relevant to you as a soul or as an individual on the deepest level of your being. This moves your life forward. There are a lot of visionaries that are in positions in their life that, for them to perform what they're here to do, they need to enter into another area of society. They need to enter into another milieu. They're in a place of growth and development, and they've outgrown that world, and they have not navigated to another frequency where they're making other types of relationships. All of these things, all of these things are accessible in the flow, because when you connect with that, what you're connecting to is the deepest level of life. You're connected to how your dharma, your ori, your connection to soul is intertwined with the sacred geometry at the deepest level of life. So it's very, very important. If there's an issue, I wanted to go back to that. If it's relationship, if it's finances, if it's health, what's important, let's take money as an example. What's important is that you begin to establish flow in that area of your life. There's a lot of instruction that projects us beyond the present, like intention. Intention projects you beyond the present. What's important if there's an issue with money is that you begin to get energy moving back and forth in that area of your life. It doesn't have to be the projection of the I'm going to make $1 million, and this lunar quarter I'm going to make 1,000. Life happens in the present, in the intimate. It's the only place we can connect to the magic. It's not that you don't have plans and you don't have intentions in those things, but once that is done, once the plan is done, you have to come back into the present and connect to spirit and connect your networks into the networks of life and live in the flow. You have to be immersed in life. If that does not occur, what I've observed happens is that people spin their wheels. they create loops. So if it's money, if whatever is going on in the present, getting that energy, getting that energy moving. You may be in the supermarket and the person in front of you needs change, that you give them 50 cents so they don't hold up the line. From higher perspectives, we all keep the flow going. Whatever you call non-duality, oneness, that if we're connected, we're keeping that energy moving in the world. That's Aquarian energy. That's the other side of Pluto in Aquarius. The other side of Pluto in Aquarius, the 1% agenda is to digitalize society, to limit our civil liberties and our activity and our movement so that we function within a limited way and that we comply with it, that we're okay with it. The antithesis, or the other side of Pluto in Aquarius, is the collective consciousness, human beings connecting with each other through their connection, through their common connection to the universal, not by creating organizations, although that's fine, but the highest state of connection happens when we plug into flow. This is to do that. To do that moves us into a life of devotion. With all due respect to the beliefs of others, but faith and worship are not alchemical principles. Alchemy talks about devotion, that you are devoted to the universal energy of life, and that you're in a state of temperance to harmonize your energy with that. And it is that that empowers you. If that is the source of the magic, that is the source of life conspiring on your behalf, life flowing. If relationships is the issue, then you have to get love moving in your life. You have to get love flowing in your life. It doesn't have to be with someone that you met that you can potentially have a relationship with. Love everyone. Just be in a state of love. Be kind to the person in the supermarket. Be kind to the Amazon delivery person. It's very, very easy to shift people's energy with kindness. I do it all the time. I'm navigating right now the medical system because I need medical work that my insurance doesn't cover, but I know that if I can file a claim. So I really have to do the unusual. I have to interact with people. I had to have my primary write a letter for me. It's all of these creative things outside of the box. This is the normal activity in the flow. And the flow is where we experience true connection, true intimacy. So if you want relationship, if you want relationship, then you have opportunities on a daily basis to bring that into your life. Interact with, we're not, it's not likely that we experience a great deal of resistance and conflict in our relationships, and then we're going to meet someone that's going to take us out of that frequency. People who have successful relationships are people who are loving. This is you cultivate love through love. You cultivate love through being a loving person. That love is and again, alchemically, love is not emotion. Love is not feeling. Love is an aspect of flow. When you're in the flow, you're in love, and you're out of the state of duality. And when we approach relationship from the place of our subjective ideas, and we're not in the present with whoever it is we're in the present with, whoever it is, a stranger, a family member, it doesn't matter, that we're not in the moment where we can honor the person, whoever they are, which is the same as honoring yourself. They're not different. They're not different. We can't be unkind to someone without dishonoring ourselves. It's impossible. People that do those things are unwell. They need healing. But all of these things, to get these things moving, whatever aspect of your life operating is not operating in a creative way, in a life affirming way, in a sovereign way. We have the power right now. We have the power to get energy moving in that aspect of our lives, that we can open up. Simple. Money requires give and take. Money flows. Money flows, and it's not one size fits all. The soul number speaks to the avenue, the path within the flow, that you have the most magic, that you have the most connections in the world, that's going to creatively generate resources on your behalf. Because your soul's number is an aspect of your relationship to the sacred geometry. Everything has a mathematical equivalent at the deepest level of life. I have one last thing that I want to say about flow, and then I'm pretty much done. Um, Water. The law of rhythm, the law of rhythm, and the sacral chakra, the chakra where our creativity is, where our genitalia, partially, along with the root, the svadhisthana. It's a beautiful word. That's one of my favorite Sanskrit words, is svadhisthana, the place of my own dwelling, the place where you reside, the lower dantian, the enteric nervous system, your intuition, that your gut, that intelligence, when it's operating as it should, directs you. That is your gateway into, if someone is wondering, well, how do I get into flow? Your gut guides you into flow. Your intuition is a network. In medicine, in Western medicine, they call it your enteric nervous system. It's a network, and that network is literally intertwined with nature. That's the overall motif or theme of what I'm sharing this evening. The intelligence, to tap into the intelligence beyond all of this stuff. Jeez. All of this stuff, to the place, to the source from where it emerged from. The Upanishads emerged from a place. Prophecy, the system, all of these things, they emerged from a place. They extend from the intelligence beyond the mind, beyond the cognitive. And in that place, We're no longer subject to our life being dictated by past events that have established an emotional frequency in our energy field that has us having the same types of experiences over and over again that we can't resolve, that we're in a energetic loop in any aspect of our life. So water, the anahata is air, the svadhisthana is water. So what comes into play with the swat, how do you move? The skeleton is very important. Bone marrow is very important. The breath is so important because when we don't have enough breath, it keeps the mind functioning at a very low frequency. So how we move, the ancestors, drumming, music, song, they worked to song. They moved. Dance and rhythm and music are part of most cultures. I can't think of any culture that doesn't have music. We all have a rhythm. And the second movement, space establishes your circadian rhythm, your relationship with light and dark. It comes in through the optic nerve into the body and establishes the hormones, how we function, that there's a timing. There's a timing. I've noticed recently how, people have difficulty managing time, which means the svadhisthana, the place of their own dwelling, is not established. When people cannot answer a direct question about themselves, what do you do? Well, I do a lot of different things. The svadhisthana, that part of body, the gut, is very important to cultivate that. So, what else can I say? Group people who are have an interest in group. The group meets once a month at the full moon time. Not always on the full moon, the Sunday closest to it. And during the season, we learn formula. And then at the season change, we have a retreat weekend where we make formula, but then we break and people go out into the world and then come back and share their experiences. You have to take the alchemy into your life and experience it. Alchemy cannot be regulated to just the classroom or the Zoom room. And the donation for that is very moderate. And I just reduced it because we're in a recession. So I just reduced it. It's $28 for people that are interested in that. And that's it. Mic drop.
Thank you. The family is just saying that they love your voice, that it's like music, it's soothing. Yeah, they love your wisdom. Wow. Thank you, family. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for sharing.
People comment on my voice and they say you can't hear your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I receive that. It is so, Rise and Sun, whatever you've done, this configuration of the set, it is so serene.
Mm-hmm.
It is so very serene.
You know what's very interesting,
What is that, Belinda?
Diana and Bliss? I had set up on more than one attempt on more than one show to have four rotating crystals, and the fourth one won't happen. Bliss won't happen. Diana.
Well, you know that
And it's,
everything is alive, and
yeah, it's like we don't want the fourth one. It's just like we want three.
you know that everything. Oh gosh, I'm warm. You know that everything is alive.
Because I had set up a rotating the double terminated crystal that's the size of a football, and cell phone just died. It's like, no, I'm not going to be on. It's just going to be three, and it looks like it worked out better as the three. And then I'm thinking of, well, Tesla like 369, so I guess that fourth one wasn't popping.
And we have 6 screens, 3 people, 3 stones.
All
Tesla's
right,
numbers.
all right, now read, Miss Bliss. Go ahead, girl. read, Miss Bliss. Go ahead, girl.
So there you go. You already working with the Tesla numbers. There you go.
Yeah, I guess so. And I just want to say to all everyone who has special acknowledgement to Lloyd Strayhorn, everyone who has the Lekli beads. This is when we feed the Lekli in the full moon light. So I have the honey over the Lekli beads because Lekli means steel eels, Leklai family. So this is a good time. This full moon. I think Bliss, we still in that full moon.
Yes, it's still active.
Radiant still active, right?
It's still active. They can still do it. Yes.
Yeah. So Diana, before you you know disappear into the night, give some of these young folks suggestions of what to do on this full moon cycle, and perhaps Bliss, you can follow, or y'all do a duo or whatever you want to do, so I can just sit here with my kitty cat.
Well, the lunar cycle is very strongly felt. We can feel the Martian cycle from our energy high and low, whatever sign Mars is in, its positions. But the lunar cycle, because it affects the water, and we're water, it's one of, I would recommend the full moon cycle to be a time of devotion and a time that you set aside where your day is not jam-packed with to-do things, to the extent that you have the opportunity to do that within your life, because the dimensions are so thin during the full moon. Emotions can be very high. Full moons, we know, whatever, full moons bring things into fruition. So this particular full moon that we're in is in Aquarius, and it happened on a 2-day, and 2 correlates to is ruled by the moon. So it's a strong full moon. But more than anything else, and this doesn't only apply to the full moon, but it most definitely applies to the full moon, pay attention to what happens to you. It is the most accurate reading that you're going to get, because the full moon brings whatever needs to come to the surface. It brings it into the surface so that you can see it. So I would say that, traditionally, historically, time for cleansing, self-care, emotional baths, excellent, at the full moon. The second, the book that the handbook that I've prepared, I wanted to have something that I could give out to people, because when I speak, I always reference the practice. I wanted people to be able to have the movements in written form. that's a placeholder for the alchemy of redemption, restoring the magic of your humanity. But after that is the alchemy of ceremony. Ceremony comes from the word Sirius, where we get cereal. The goddess Sirius, where that rules agriculture in the Greek pantheon. But ceremony, and that all that goes back to flow. That there's a spell that's been cast about work. Work on yourself. Do the work, the work, the work, the work, the work. This was not the alchemy of the ancient. This was not ancient culture. In antiquity, what we did was ceremony. We lived, everything had an adjacent ceremony that was very specifically connected to the energy of the season, the time, and the day. And if any aspect of your life was not in alignment with the life force, the elders or the priests or the shaman or the healers would prescribe a ceremonial prescription that you incorporated into how you live, because it requires repetition to change energy, to bring energy into alignment with the individual and with the flow and with the village and with the community. So full moon was, of course, very important because it was very telling. It was very telling. Pluto and Aquarius, people can look back. Pluto went into Aquarius for a short time between September and November. You can think back of what was going on with you at that particular time, and that is your forecast for the next 20 years in terms of what you can resolve. But the full moon is a time for ceremony. When we have ceremonies for how we live, how we get up in the morning, how we get dressed, what we do, we water our plants, how we prepare food. And I grew up colored. Colored people had ceremony. I mean, things that they lived in harmony with the seasons. They did things on certain days. Monday was wash day. Tuesday was when you did the bulk of your work. And even in corporate America, they still use those correspondences. Most major winter meetings are scheduled on a Wednesday. So, ceremony is tuning into the power and the forces of the earth and the cosmos to heal you. That if this is how spiritual work was done in the old days, it would be, my love life isn't what it should be. Well, do these formulas, and all formulas are invocations, because I'm talking about magic. I'm not talking about sorcery. I'm not talking about tapping into some force other than the divine. I'm talking about evoking from within you. It's like this rose quartz. If I hold this rose quartz, it's going to activate my heart center. So invocation, magic is invocation. And one of the this may be off subject, but it comes to mind. It crossed my mind the day that someone asked me a question about magic, and I said, the most dominant magic in our society is sex magic. All over the place. All over the place, particularly at full moon times. It's constant. It's hiding right. I'm a marketing person by trade. That's what I did in the corporate world. And advertising uses sex to sell everything. Everything. People that look a particular way, Now they're using dopamine and oxytocin because now it's refined down to the hormonal level. How can we trigger your longing, and how can we satisfy that to get you to purchase this product? But sex magic, think about all of the things in our culture that are marketed, that are connected to our sexuality: fashion, cars, jewelry, where you live, who you know, how you look. All of that was established, and it's not, and it used to be more blatant. It's more powerful and less blatant now. In the 50s, there used to be, remember the old time car commercials with a woman in a bikini, sex to sell toothpaste. Sex was used to sell everything. That never stopped. That never stopped. Because it's very, very powerful. If I can evoke your sexual energy and direct it where I want to direct it, then I can control you.
Yes. And the desire to fit in. Everyone has this thing. Everyone looks like this, and I want to fit in too. I want to, I don't want to be different.
Exactly. And there's nothing, and that's normal. That's healthy. That's a part of who we are. We're social animals. We have an ancestral sense to want to belong and find our place within the world. That's the difference between the sacred and the profane. The profane uses the same things, but the profane leads to addiction. You have to continue to get more and more material because it never really fulfills. It doesn't satisfy. Whereas the sacred activity expands consciousness and continues to expand it until we experience union with God, until we merge with the Atma, or the soul, or the Brahma, or however your spiritual system defines that, until you are avatar state, until you are one with that. And that still goes back to flow. And we should be mindful that we live in a society that monetizes everything. So that spiritual culture is now popular and important. It is also monetized.
So with that being said, Diana, that means racism is good for sales.
Oh, of
Because with
course.
racism, you feel less than worthy. So you are marketed things so that you can get a dose of dopamine. That's why
Absolutely.
it's so important when we say, yes, I am worthy, to
Yes.
break the chains of
Yes.
unworthiness that
Yes.
intentionally or
Yes.
unintentionally was given to you by
Yes.
your parents.
Yes. Yes. And they call them demographical profiles, but what they really are they're psychological profiles. You can't say in business this is a psychological profile for manipulation of a particular race group. You can't. But demographical studies study in depth
Yes.
the habits and the psychology of whoever they're targeting.
Yes.
So absolutely. And it's so ubiquitous now. It is so, because the technology is ubiquitous, we are never away from it. We are constantly being triggered to participate in the matrix. And it's a diversion.
Yeah.
So it's very important that, even if it is your morning ritual, your morning ritual should be to connect with your Svadhisthana, that how you get dressed in the morning, what you go through. Everyone should have a morning ritual that you go out into the world as yourself, that you connect with your own rhythm. Because if you don't, you're in a reactionary state all day. You're in your sympathetic nervous system. And if you're in your sympathetic nervous system all the time, you will never know who you are. And you'll never be able to, if you're living in your sympathetic nervous system, you're unable to experience true intimacy and connection with another. because the goal of Tantra is union with God. That is what, when I was studying Tantra in the 60s and 70s, the people that I was reading, they were all celibate. It's a branch of yoga. And they were working on the divine union in the heart between Shiva and Shakti, and then the world becomes your beloved.
Ooh, now you going deep. You remind me, Bliss, Diana, family. I just recently heard, not probably within the last year or two, there's a brother in Brooklyn that has been practicing cultivation so that people literally see his aura glowing in the daytime.
Okay.
And he's been like celibate for years. And he have people in the street. I mean, you don't have to have your third eye open. You could just see him with your sunglasses on, and you'd see the luminous
Do you know
light.
him? Do you have a connection to him? I would love to meet him. Let's put that out.
And
Make it
and
happen.
he has people petitioning him like, "Oh, I want to be a student," and he doesn't pay none of that any mind. So what you just said is so crucial, Diana, because now tantra is like, "Oh, that's another word for saying give me some booty."
Well, the thing is that I don't really know a lot about Neo Tantra. I'm familiar with it as a branch of yoga.
Yeah, well, drop that on the folks because they don't know about that. The celibacy of tantra and making existence your lover. That's
Well,
some deep stuff you just said.
that was my understanding of, and there are, there were Tantra masters who had partners. But see, the thing is that orgasm is very hormonally powerful. It releases oxytocin and dopamine. And it creates an energy marker. Now, one of the things that happens, and people can Google this, if the research, all scientists are putting their papers up online now. So you could say the science and the papers. What happens when we have multiple partners, we release less and less oxytocin, and our ability to bond is diminished. The more that we do that. So what the research is showing is that people, and these are not necessarily people that are practicing Tantra, but just in popular culture, that there's a physiological, hormonal, and energetic exchange of energy that we know. What also happens is, because there's a lot of addiction to pornography that's happening now also. So as we milk those hormonal responses, and understand where those hormonal responses are coming from, they're coming from the pituitary gland. That's the master producer of your hormones in your body that also tells your body how to operate. So it's, for men, the release, there's a loop between the pituitary gland and the testes that creates that loop in terms of orgasm in men. So I said all that to say that there are metrics. There are we can measure whether or not our tantric practice is one, cultivating hormones, because realization is a hormonal experience. There are hormones that you begin to produce once the pituitary is healthy, the pineal gland is activated, you're not living in your sympathetic nervous system. So the reason why these Tantra masters were celibates, and they weren't just celibates, they were doing yoga, they were doing Tantra is very high yoga. Very high yoga. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I do some tantric practices in terms of breath, retaining breath, and bringing that energy up into the heart. So if you just think about it in a more mundane sense, like your interaction with people on a daily basis, you're conscious that it's an energy exchange. Some people give you energy, some people take energy from you, and that's just moving around society or just interacting with people on your job. So we know that this is profoundly intensified during cohabitation. So what I'm saying is that there is a science as to why the tantric masters were celibate, because they were bringing up that vital kundalini energy and creating hormonal changes within themselves, because their goal was union with God. Their goal was so you're talking about yogis that could do things like levitate. And like you're saying that there's a brother in Brooklyn whose aura is visible. These are the types of people that are aspiring towards Christhood, Buddhahood, yielding, and the flow, going back to the flow, some people are born with spiritual qualities. They have gifts. And the more time they spend in flow and in flow state, those qualities, the higher faculties of the mind are cultivated. The goal of the Tantra that I'm familiar with was, again, divine union. And that, when I teach and when I write, I constantly have Shakti put, and I'm an old lady, I'm in my 70s. But I'm in an orgasmic state right now. It's just natural. When you're in flow state, it is natural for spirit to come through, because that's what it is. It's divine union. It's divine union. Creativity is our highest form, one of our highest forms. Our divinity. So the masters that I knew, that I was aware of. My husband was an acupuncturist, so we did not have a celibate marriage. But it was during that period. And this was, oh gosh, I was in my 30s. This was 40 years ago. That what I'm saying is that it's not necessary. Celibacy is a path. I'm not saying that people have to be celibate to reach higher states of consciousness. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is the Tantra that I was familiar with was a branch of yoga, and it had metrics. The masters measured the progress of their hormonal energy, the progress of raising up Kundalini energy up through the crown and out of this world, so that they could be at one with God.
I got something to share with you. What my journey with the orgone beads, Diana, Miss Bliss, is that those beads have gotten me to feel that dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins just about all the time. And I'm still figuring this out, because it rocked. My last relationship got rocked, because when I finally figured out the right formula to make me have heartgasms, that's a game changer, family. That changed the whole game, because now I'm not dependent on somebody else to give me orgasms. I'm in an orgasm myself. That's a game changer when you are in your own bliss.
Exactly.
And I want to bring this up.
And any the content that I'm glad you said that, Rising Sun, because that's the content, that's the predisposition. The Tantra that I know, you had to be in that state before you would mate. You had to get there first. You had to first be where the world was your beloved.
I've
And
seen some tantra groups. They look exhausted and famished. I'm like, you don't look like you. They look like I come to our tantra retreat and you will enjoy yourself. They look like they with batteries that been dead since 10 years ago.
You need to stop. You should have brought your butt down to Georgia with us. Then you'd have saw a lot of
I was
action.
already in tantra. I want to show you. Look. Yeah, I want to show you this real quick, Bliss and family and Diana. I'm going to share this. This is an old one. Look at this.
Don't get the channel shut down now.
what am I looking at?
You gonna watch the screen? Hold on.
Acacia Bliss Beads. Okay.
So arousing. This is powerful.
I can barely hear it.
She's talking about having orgasms from the waist beads.
Oh, yeah.
Just put it on maybe 20 minutes ago. This is a beautiful feeling. I feel the healing, the vibration, like literally there's vibration going on. It's like there's expansion exploding, bliss literally, and then I feel a shooting energy activating, and it's going towards my back as well. It's more of like an activation energy. It is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is different. This is absolutely different. Yes. Bliss. Tell us what your views.
So I just wanted to share that little clip.
No, that the thing about it is to internal orgasm. Orgasm is an aspect of our natural state. Sexuality is in everything. The inside of the cup is female, the outside is male. Everything, all interactions, conversations are sexual. Sexual is a universal principle. And that people long for intimacy and connection and orgasm. Colored community was very, 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 very sensual. The interaction, just going to the store when I was growing up was so sensual. People and the men were, just the interaction of the community. And Rising Sun, you and I talk about this all the time. The music, the soundtrack, just listening to the music. When I talk about how loving and sensual and the energy exchange that we had when we were colored, I have receipts because the receipts are in the music. Coltrane, Love Supreme, When a Man Loves a Woman. I mean, when you listen to the music, it speaks to the culture. And colored people very much have the components of culture. We had food, we had music, we had things that you did and did not do. It was very much an in-place culture. Right now, I could have never imagined a time where the genders are as polarized as they are now. That men are so angry at women and women are so angry at men. And that's only in certain communities. It's not everywhere. But I could have never imagined it. I didn't grow up in a world where that was commonplace in all of these workshops. And it's that happened in the 60s. That happened in the 60s. We threw away the baby with the water, where we were deculturalized. And now there's a presence. There's a presence in the community that doesn't belong there, that prevents us from truly connecting with each other in the simplest of ways. In the simplest of ways. You cultivate love with love. It's as simple as that. You cultivate love with love. But yes, it's the goal, and the goal of all of us should be that whether or not whatever your cultural life is that you choose, whether you're married, whether you are single and sexually active, to flow, to enter into the frequency of love, which is not it's in my senses it's been overcomplicated, because I know that everyone has a point of reference of what it's like to enter into the zone. Don't you know, when I say being in the zone, don't you know what I mean? In the zone, you're in love. There's no separation between you and the people around you. You can freely and spontaneously interact with the environment. You can just be. You're not focused on duality. You're focused on the quantum field. You're focused on the oneness. All I'm saying is identify what takes you there and incorporate it into your life. Because that's what it is to be in love. Not having an intellectual conversation about, to be in love is that you're taking the groceries out the car and your beloved says, let me get that. That's in the flow. It's the natural thing to do. Someone has too much in it. It's a natural thing to do. Let me pick. It is in the small of how we flow and interact with people on a daily basis. You buy a piece of fur, can you come pick me up? I'm here. That is what we're longing for.
Yeah,
And that's accessible.
you know what I think helped derail that? The technology
Yeah.
of social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Tick, the dormant feeling of unworthiness was amplified by social media personalities, making the collective observers amplify their sense of lack of worth. And
Yes.
that's what caused the the hairline fracture to become cracked wide open, because this was not addressed. Your mama and your daddy were already broken, heartbroken, wounded souls amplified by the lens of social media. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And when I did my ayahuasca years ago and my shrooms, it said, get off Facebook. That was the first one. Then it was like, okay, I'm off Facebook. Finally got off Facebook. Then it was like, the shrooms was like, get off Instagram. You're being monitored. And I was like, okay. It said, get off now. Close your account. And I did.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah. And what I'm seeing, this gender war has been simmering, as you said, Diana, since the 60s, when civil rights, Martin Luther King need to reincarnate right back down here and straighten this out, because he jacked stuff up with this dream he had, because right now it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. But it goes back further than that. I mean, we're in the Kali Yuga, we're in the Dark Ages. We're very, very far from the cosmic light, just starting to move forward. And we are taking in these ancient systems that emerged out of a golden age through the lens of the Western mindset, through a materialized mindset. So our view and our idea of spirituality is distorted, is distorted. We're not seeing it. We don't have the same awareness that our indigenous ancestors did. But the other thing that you said, Rising Sun, that I wanted to underline because it's such a powerful statement. The fact that our children are growing up with these images that are filtered and aspiring towards a lifestyle that doesn't exist. where for thousands of years, who we were around were elders and people of our culture. And we learned through observing and experience. And now our models are people that we don't even know are for our children, that they're getting from the media and the energy behind it
Yes.
is control and monetization. So that's a very that and that's coupled with what you're saying about the social media, Rising Sun, is so true, because one, you're in an environment that's triggering you emotionally, so you're always in fight, flight, or freeze. Even in a conversation, fight, flight, or freeze, our sympathetic nervous system evolved over thousands of years for when you're in danger, that your body is saying prepare for danger. So people can't digest food, they can't think, they can't function because they think they're going to war from having a conversation.
Oh, and you know what the latest thing is? Because of
Which is
hang ups, people are, as far as their internal bliss, all due respect, Diana, all due respect, Bliss, all due respect to the audience, personal internal bliss, folks, our folks are bust ass broke because we've been chasing the bliss and then feeling guilt from parents that miseducated because of trauma. You have so many people that they have excelled in the job or the business and don't experience personal internal bliss. I'm gonna tell you, in our community, we're not only heartbroken, folks. For the most part, are internal bliss bust ass broke. So where I'm at now, and my quietude with all these beads I got wrapped around my neck, it's because I am high as a kite and feeling all right.
Wow, I just want to veggie back off what Diana said a few minutes ago. I'm preparing to go to training to learn a new medicine, and I was instructed specifically that prior to arrival that there's a certain level of respect for this particular medicine, that we need to honor and show a higher level of respect for the indigenous tribe that's going to be teaching us and educating us regarding it. There are a number of rituals, and they are so strict about not allowing this medicine to be commercialized like some of the other medicines that we're experiencing right now. And they want to make sure that in showing everyone and teaching everyone and serving the medicine, that it's definitely acknowledged that the tribe that's providing this, the medicine and all of the learning and experiencing that's coming with it. And you're right. I'm starting to see a lot of people who are just serving the medicines just to be serving it, with no ritual, no education, no respect towards the indigenous tribes, all the work that they put in to gather all this
these are plant relationships that evolve in some instances over thousands of years.
Yes.
In addition to that, Diana, Bliss, and I share this with Bliss, but family, the indigenous people of the Amazon don't want capitalism with their sacred herbs.
No.
Because we think, oh, sure, if I get up my fingers, my gnarly fingers on that medicine, I can charge $500 and $600 like they do for ayahuasca ceremonies, bufo ceremonies, tantra ceremonies, because I want to pay. I want the common people, the single parents, to pay out of greed. Yo, this is a sickness from a lack of bliss.
This is all for healing.
So the indigenous people on their herbal ride say, no, we don't want capitalistic attitudes. We don't want capitalistic junkies to come into the Amazon and learn about this unique herb that, family, you probably haven't heard about. So they saying, let's do cross references.
Yep.
And Bliss, I got to give a personal recommendation to Bliss, just so that they will screen her while they high on the herbs, and through the eyes of plants decide if she is worthy to have the ministry of this particular entheogen, because they don't want colonial mindset junkies to be a part of this ministry.
And I love it. I love the process that they're screening people prior to showing them this medicine and exposing them to the indigenous tribe.
You asked for this.
I'm all for it.
You asked for this, Bliss. You asked for it. You called on this in your heart that you wanted to be in a theogenic community that had integrity. You asked for it.
Yes, exactly.
And
Special acknowledgement to Steve. Special acknowledgement to Baba Awolowo. Special acknowledgement to all the entheogenic Jedis that's not chasing the dead presidents. Ashe Aho.
Yes.
Ashe Aho Adonada. And I also wanted to touch on when you mentioned how there's rituals all around us, even in the corporate world. I recently found out that the Declaration of Independence was signed when I believe it's the planet Sirius was at its highest and most powerful point. And that a lot of these things, when they come out and make these speeches or they change these laws, including tax laws, it's done at a certain time when the stars and the moon is at a certain stage or a planet is a certain way. This is all ritual too. Certain clothing and colors they wear when they come on the screen and they communicate to us. This is all ritual too. Yes.
The profane has always used and manipulated. What you're talking about now with the medicine, monetizing it, exploiting it, that has been going on for thousands of years. It's like there was a Christianity that was an oral tradition that was passed down through the apostles. That is not the Christianity that, that's history, that the masses didn't have access to the esoteric aspects of religion. But what you're describing in terms of culture is based on nature, and nature is based on energy. So what we consider to be, well, let me give you this point of reference. Like the Council of Nicaea is one of those councils in 325 AD that's well known. Constantine, and that they took, and that they codified all of the information. The people that their practices were outlawed, that they called witches, the alchemists, and those people, the practices of those things and those people giving counsel and being a part of government has always been the case. What they did was they made it illegal for the masses to practice.
Yep.
But the ruling class never ceased of practicing, various areas of it. So from, all things, it's a part of the history of who we are. Architecture, all of those, all of those things.
And you know who else is tuning up? There's a rise of the indigenous tribes in the West, where they're saying, no, you capitalistic species, you're not going to give our peyote ceremonies. We're going to do it because you're trying to be a capitalistic junkie on our ancestral medicine. So they're saying, go back to your urban settings. You're not going to absorb our peyote ceremonies. We're going to do it the indigenous, because they don't want them to capitalize it.
Yeah. Our value system is to monetize.
Yeah.
Our value system, and the extreme lengths that has gone to over millennia, the reconfiguration of, it's like we live in the United States. There were advanced cultures here before the West invaded. There are earth mounds and pyramids all over the United States. There are artifacts
Exactly.
that are not in museums, that are not on display, that are not studied, that are hidden
Mm-hmm.
because they went against the grain of, the manifest destiny that we all studied in school. Well, let me even say this: systems of control have to lie to justify themselves. You can't have a control system and tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to lie. So, you have to justify genocide. You have to justify, how do you justify taking over the land of the indigenous people? How do you justify slavery? And in 2023, we're having a conversation about that over the summer, where the Republicans want Kamala Harris to have a discussion about the benefits of slavery and how Black people should be grateful. And her response was intelligent. She refused to debate, and she said, there is no discussion. There was nothing, there is no discussion, roundtable, or conversation about slavery. Slavery was an abomination, period. There's no two sides of that. No two sides to the story, but it's, where we are. You know what this minute is? This minute is where you go through a stage where it's like, okay, it's the food, and then it's the education system, and then it's the media. And then you have an epiphany, and then you realize that, okay, it's everything. I'm living at a time, and I'm living in a society that is out of alignment. So we can continue to have that conversation, or we can make a choice to be the counter energy to that. We could be because what you're saying, Rising Sun, I do believe, a lot of the cultures that plant medicines come from, the people are poor because because their resources have been stolen from them.
Yes.
So they sold their culture because they needed money, and I think they've reached a point. And this is hypothetical. I don't know this to be so, but I think we're moving to a time where part of what Pluto and Aquarius is bringing is that it's not worth it. The cost is too high.
Mm-hmm.
The cost is too high. People have, tried very hard to do the right thing, to work very hard, to go into debt. This just when we think about you go into debt to get a college education, and people are longing for and constantly studying to get the information they actually need to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a dichotomy.
The
That's
only one benefiting from that, with the exception of maybe an engineer or a medical doctor, the only one benefiting are the banker gangsters for the school loans, and that you're going to be paying out your for the next 20 years.
and if you and more the way the way the country is configured financially, you know, um, at the disadvantage of the citizen, it's
Look at this one, Diana. If you don't feel worthy, you go to college just like Dorothy went to the Wizard of Oz to get a paper certificate because she wasn't tapped into her bliss. But what happens? The Tin Man, the Straw Man, they all got a dose from the Uncle Wizard of Oz, and because they weren't in their bliss. And that's why I salute about you, Bliss. I elevate, like, yeah, keep riding, keep going with that bliss, because we are bliss deficient, and that's where you make a slave. Oh, make your eyelashes longer so that you feel bliss. Make your hair, wear a wig so you have bliss. Paint your nails so you have bliss. Lift your booty, lift your front end so you have bliss. build your muscles so that you'll get bliss. We are bliss deprived, crazy as crackheads. The
People
winos on the corner got more sense than most of the
want to be
masses.
loved. People want to be loved, and I'm here to tell you that love is here in abundance. Love is here in abundance. Come and connect with the Alchemy Group. It's people that are not inclined to do that because everybody is studying so many different things. Um, I'll send you the practice. I'll send you the movements of the practice. People want to be loved,
Yeah.
and more than any, it is a frequency like Dorothy. You can click your heels. You can step into that frequency is here.
Ooh, let me pull that up.
Frequency is here and in abundance.
Oh yeah. Let me pull that up. Um, I'm gonna pull that up. That's a great one, Diana. Ooh, Lena Horne. Remember Lena Horne?
Yes, I remember Lena
If
Horne.
you believe.
You believe in magic?
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Here it is. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay, hold on. Let me bring this up, y'all. Got me started. I'm learning how to work this. Special acknowledgement to Joel and King Simon. Let me see. I come like this here. Just a quickie, y'all. Just be nature for before you go to bed tonight. May you be tapping in to your bliss, because bliss is your destiny.
Oh my gosh. Look at her.
If you believe within your heart, you know that no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. Believe that you can go home. Believe you can float on air. Yes, click your heels 3 times. If you believe, oh, then you'll be there. That's why I want you to believe in yourself. Yes, right from the start, you got to believe in the magic right there in your heart. Go ahead, believe all these things, not because I told you to. No, go ahead, believe in yourself. Woo. Yeah, believe in yourself. Ooh, yeah, yeah, believe in yourself as I believe in
That was perfect.
Wow, I got chills.
That was perfect, Rising Sun.
All of us. Me, we, Ubuntu.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's the source of bliss. Right,
Absolutely.
Bliss?
Yeah. I got chills. I was just like, woo, yes.
You will never find it outside until you connect with it inside.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you tonight. Thank
This
you to all the audience.
It is.
Simply Bliss.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes.
Thank you for, I love this. Thank you so much. So to the audience, email me and I will send you the little basic practice handbook. The next group is Sunday, August 6th. The donation for that is $28. I so love that my fees are that I can say like $28 in comparison to I am not a capitalist. That it's a donation, it's not a fee. When I go into corporate America, I charge fees. When I go into corporate America, when I work in the community, I ask for a donation. It's not the same. It's not the same thing at all. All righty, beloveds. Have a wonderful night. I wanted to showcase. I've been wearing my bracelet, Rising Sun.
Oh, can we pull you up on the screen
Oh,
to show
can
that?
we put you on the screen now, Diana?
The
Put her
bracelet.
up. Go ahead, Bliss. Put her up.
Bracelet.
I have. This is just. Oh gosh. I Rising Sun brought it by yesterday, and he showed me the bag. He said, "Pick out the one you want," and the bag is on the table. And so I closed the bag because the energy was so strong, and then I picked it up and put it on the bike. And then after he left, I went over to the park. I walked the stairs in Fort Greene Park, and I called him when I got back. But I called him afterwards, and I said, "Rising Sun," I said, "I know my routine, and I feel a noticeable change in energy." Then this morning in my Qigong class, Kathy starts us with meditation, and I said, "Well, I'll put my bracelet on for class." And I'm in meditation, and usually she goes from meditation to Qigong movement. I open my eyes, everyone else is doing Qigong. I went so deep into it was like I had done plant medicine. But that and this is the details of this. This is a formula for a particular emotional state. And Rising Sun just called me, like he says, "Diana, I have something for you." And it's Ethiopian opal, which I wasn't familiar with. And when I looked online and saw what it vibrated to, it was the exact thing that I needed at that time. And I have on this is my teacher's bracelet that has 9 pieces on it, my life path that he didn't know. I have such magic with Rising Sun. So yes, I have on all of my sacred pieces tonight. So I've been telling him, your mojo, his magic is powerful.
Well, thank you, Diana.
His
'Cause
magic is powerful.
the inspiration was that movie called Cocoon from years ago. Remember the movie
Told
Cocoon?
that story. Yes, yes, yes. Well, honey, it is. I have so my cup. My water on my desk. It's like it is. Yeah, So yes, yes. It's. I can personally testify, and others. And the people that that have gotten stuff from you, they're all my age. Well, Akila's not quite my age. She's not in her 70s yet, but she's in her 60s. So absolutely, you're doing wonderful work. Namaste.
Namaste. You know what? I really believe if you reach a certain height of cellular bliss, and I'm thinking of you, Miss Bliss, and you, Diana, too. I think there's a key that will be unlocked on the cellular level when you build a bliss momentum. I really believe that there's something magical beyond that veil.
The yogis, when you do higher states of yoga, you secrete from the pineal gland honey. A sweetness comes down into your throat that you can taste, and you change. This is why I'm saying it's we don't have to we don't have to have we don't have to have questions about whether or not our spiritual practices are working. They're metrics. Measure it. It's it's measurable. You know, if your sex life is healthy, it's going to give you a lot of creative energy. You know, it's going to transform your life in a very positive way, in a very, very positive way. So it's palpable. It's measurable.
Yes. Yes.
All righty, beloved. I think we need a benediction. Rising sun, give us a benediction.
Bliss, roll us out on the nighttime lullaby. And I want to thank all the audience now and in the future. Thank you, Diana. Thank you for everyone being a part of this. And hopefully you will feel worthy in your self acceptance, and may bliss cascade through all of your cells, heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit. Thank you again, Diana. Thank you, Ms. Bliss. Thank you for all your comments,
Yes.
family, now and the future. Oh, and all the hugs. Look at all them hugs.
I receive that. I receive.
Yeah, yeah.
I receive it. I receive it. I receive it.
And thank you, Divine Person, all of you who put your comments.
I love this, Miss Bliss, Mama Diana, and Uncle Hank. I love it.
See, once you get so high on bliss, you can call you anything you want because you in your zone. Yeah, baby. I got mine. Yep. You can get yours too. And the first thing is saying, yes, I am worthy.
Yes.
And I accept myself. I forgive myself. And I am all that ever was, all that ever is, all that ever will be. And you know, I got to do one more thing because I ran into one of my gatekeepers right there on the corner today. And he was so hilarious because he's so real. Straight up Capricorn, family. Straight up Capricorn. Y'all Capricorn, y'all, you know, y'all running on some other stuff. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me do this, and then we gonna get out of here. Hold on. I got to give this to you. Share screen. Here it is. Window. Share. Okay, and then I got to push the button. Hold on. Let me push this button.
Say that. What did you say, Mr. C? Actually, my Father God that made me can come. So he sent me his son to let y'all know. Keep the faith. Strong. Hello? You gotta be strong. Keep the faith. Have faith in yourself, not in me. In me.
Strong words from Capricorn.
B-O-N-G. Bang bang. Twice. God can come, so he sent me his son.
Did you hear that?
I love it. I love it. Rising Sun has a community ministry, and I mean that seriously. I that's not a joke. I mean that no joke. He has a serious community ministry.
Take us out, Bliss.
All right, guys, we're going to do the show ending right now.
Say often, yes, I am. Supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. Take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%. If you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal. Bring forth. Yes, I am. Remember, you are divine.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
night. Good night.
Good night, and thank you, Diana.
Good night.